Okay, so Duarte may be the only place outside of Beijing where you can walk around with a mask and not have people gawk at you. Um, Sort of understand the reason for the mask is not because you're Typhoid Mary or Mark, but because you're trying to protect yourself from them because the City of Hope is here. Um, it's Saturday, 7/6, 2019. Thousands of aftershocks and significant earthquakes. Journal 101, T+95. That brings you to a whole issue of normal and what the hell normal is all about. And I'm not sure that I have all the answers, but I certainly have many, many, many questions. Um, so what the hell is normal all about anyway? Um, they say that one out of every four people is nuts. Um, that means that the other three people are normal. And let's talk about what that means. It also means that if they're normal, um, you're the one. You're the one who's nuts. You're the one who's abnormal, or as Mel Brooks would say, abnormal. Um, so, what does that mean? Does it mean that? Does it mean conformity? And if it does, conformity to what? Is it just normally accepted behavior? Well, that means that it's got to be culturally relative, right? Um, because it's normal behavior in comparison to the time and place and the culture and values and beliefs that you're immersed in. Um, is normal relative? Does it depend on how normal your relatives are? That's a joke, by the way. Um, just kidding. Or is it, or is it more than that? And the question is, it's difficult because I think that this concept of normal changes and changes on a regular basis all the time. It changes for all of us all the time. Um, I certainly had a set of normal behaviors before um, I was diagnosed, and certainly wound up with a set of very different beliefs, values, and behaviors subsequently. Um, were they any less normal? They just became normal for me at that moment. And I think that happens to all of us. Um, I had a set of post diagnosis behaviors that were normal until I came in for treatment. And then that whole idea of what normal was and what comprised normal for me changed and changed dramatically. And as a result, what's normal for me at this particular time and place is very, very different from what's normal for most everybody else. I belong to a very small group. First of all, I belong to a very small group of primary myelofibrosis patients. And that small group is a very small group in comparative to the culture at large. So how do you handle the fact that your normal keeps shifting? How do you deal with normal when it's constantly different, when it's constantly um, situationally dependent? And that's an interesting question because it came up in conversation with a friend um, today because as we approach day 100, whatever has been normal for the last 70 days, the days post discharge from the hospital, because those 70 some odd days, 72 or 3 days, however many that's been, have been very, very different from the normal that I experienced in the hospital and the normal I experienced before that. And I hope this is making sense, because I'm really working desperately to try and work my way through this. I don't know why it's so important to me, but it is. Um, I think perhaps because normal shifts, and if normal can change, that means that you can impact it, you can help change it. And if that's the case, if you're in a situation that's difficult or dangerous, um, or just plain annoying, you can find a way out of that. And maybe that's all what that's my interest in this is all about. Not that I'm in a situation that's difficult, or I am in a situation that's difficult or dangerous. Actually, if you think about it, still not out of the woods with regard to my diagnosis and treatment. But the question came up, what are you looking, what are you most looking forward to about your trip home, about being released from my 100 days out here close to the hospital, that I've recovered sufficiently to be trusted in the world at large, not to do anything too terribly stupid, um, not to act in any abnormal way from whatever my normal must be, needs to be, has to be in the situation that we face. And there were a lot of things that came up in the conversation. What am I looking for? I'm looking for a normal kind of a schedule. Really desperately excited to be able to go back to the gym, although they'll think I work there because I'll be cleaning every piece of equipment I go on. And of course, I'll have a mask on, so kind of hoping that I hope no one decides to just open their locker and hand me their money if they think if I walk into the locker room, but who knows? Um, and then I turned around and I said to my friend, I said, what I'm really looking for is just a little bit of normal in the world, whatever that means. And it lives, right now my normal is living in a world of a tremendous number of restrictions, um, considerable number of restrictions that tell me what I can and cannot do, mostly what I can't do, what I can't eat, how long it can sit out, how it's got to be cleaned, how long, what I, being dairy free for the last, 100 days because um, of its interaction with some of the medications that I take, and having an adverse impact on my uh, GI tract, which has become normal. Having a GI tract that doesn't work properly has become normal over the past 2 months, 3 months. So what I'm looking for, I think, is what I considered normal pre-diagnosis. But I don't think so. I think I've changed so dramatically in so many different ways as far as my awareness goes, my uh, consciousness is concerned, that 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 normal is uncomfortable. That old normal is uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable even to think about, let alone explore. Um, Certainly not comfortable returning. Not a comfortable place to return to. So this whole idea of normal becomes more and more interesting to me, uh, mostly because in every set of challenges that we've been asked to confront, Leslie and myself, mostly me, but certainly many challenges that she's been asked to confront, we've managed to accommodate. And in each instance, for large periods of time, the behaviors that we've been forced to uh, immerse ourselves in have all become normal. It's normal for me to eat this way. It's normal for me to eat um, a lot of vegetarian meals. It's easy for me to eat a lot of dairy-free meals. It's easy for me to uh, to do so many things that I didn't do before. And it helped me to recognize that I have the power, that I have the power. Maybe that sounds arrogant, but that I have the power to adjust my perception of normal to accommodate whatever situation I'm in. And that's really an incredibly uh, powerful reality. I mean, for years I used to tell people perception is reality, feelings are facts. Um, but I think this whole idea, this concept of having an adjustable normal, is something that's powerful. It gives us control, over, much more control over the situations we find ourselves in. Recognizing that if we can accommodate to that normal, whatever it is, that we can change it. So I'm going to leave you now and think about this some more. I invite you to do the same. Um, Let me know what you think. I'd be very, very interested to hear your uh, reactions to this whole idea. In the meantime, stay well, take care. Look forward to talking to you tomorrow. Bye bye.